Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage. Thank you for tuning in. So tonight we are going to continue working on the McCulloch generator. If you have not watched the previous videos on this, go back and watch them first. This thing was a real basket case and I am trying to save it. So it's been interesting, that's for sure. So anyways, let's dive in. We're going to pick up right where we left off. I did have to put the spark plug in because I had to use the air compressor to blow something off, and I did not want any debris getting down in the cylinder. So, where we left off, I was struggling to get spark. I swapped out basically the entire ignition system from a parts engine that had spark, and I still didn't have spark. So I was like, what in the world? So I went over everything again, and I found another issue. So previously, one thing I had checked was the little plunger that rides on the crankshaft that goes up and down that opens and closes your points. I checked that, and it was free, and it was moving. That's one of the things I believe I had checked off camera, and then I went back and checked it again. I was like, it was moving, this shouldn't be the issue, and it had gotten stuck. It was not moving, so I pulled it out of the hole. I went around it with some fine grit sandpaper, cleaned it up, and sprayed some lube on it, sprayed some lube down the hole, and put it back in the hole. And now we're going to check to see if we have spark. Oh yeah, we got spark. Let's see if you can see it from there. You're looking right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. We're going to move it closer. You're looking right here. Did you see it? It has good, strong spark. So now, I know, we're not ready to put the carburetor on. I haven't even touched the carburetor other than cleaning up the outside, blowing it off. But we're going to put a little bit of, what I have right here is 2-cycle fuel. We're going to put some 2-cycle fuel in the cylinder and see if she'll pop off on 2-cycle fuel. We're going to give it a healthy dose because it is low on compression, or seems to be low on compression. So I haven't actually compression tested it yet, but man, it feels like it's low on compression. It has gotten a little bit better since I first started messing with it. It had 0 compression when I started. All right, let's see if she will pop off. This cover's not bolted on, so I'm going to have to hold on to it. What do you know, guys? She will run. Seems a little weak, probably because of low compression, but she will run. So anyways, I still have to put that screen on in here, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get started on the carburetor and fuel tank. I'm going to get these parts from the other engine, from the donor engine, out of the way. Need a little bowl to put some of the real small parts in. Oh, there's a couple other things I need to do as well. One of them is there's this tin that goes up top along with the kill switch. This thing, you push it over against the plug wire and spark plug, and it shorts it out, killing the ignition. So we're going to put those on. Once I have these on, I am going to go around and... Oh, that's nice. I'm going to go around and snug up all of the head bolts by hand to get them just a little bit tighter. Just so that... Let's see, which way does this go? It goes this way, I think. I should have taken note of that. I'm going to snug them up by hand to... Yeah, it goes that way. To ensure that they are all good and tight. Because this thing needs all the help it can get with compression. This one didn't move. Yeah, that's good and tight. All right. Alrighty. So now this is installed. This is your kill switch. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's your kill switch. Push it over, he shorts it out, kills it. Alrighty. Now, we need to swap out this cover right here that covers up the valve springs. Because I will show you why. Just give me a moment here. Let me get this one off and I will show you why it needs swapped out. It's getting chilly out here. This afternoon it was not bad. I had the garage door open. I was not running a heater. And now it's cold. I can see my breath. So, needless to say, the garage door is shut and I am running the heater. It's still a little cold in here though because I just fired up that heater. I just got out here like a little bit ago. So, as I said before, this engine was submerged in water. It was in somebody's basement that flooded. This whole generator was. So, it had water inside of it. And while cleaning this up, I discovered it is rusted through. So, don't know that would cause any issues, but I don't really want that thing falling apart and flaking inside the engine. So, yeah, we're gonna swap it out. Hang on a second. Yeah, there's still some crud in there. Here, let me just get that out. There we go. Got it. So I went and looked over my parts engines. I got this from a different part engine than we got the ignition from. This one's in good shape. The gasket is still intact, and I already cleaned it up, and we are going to swap it on. Okay. So this can go in the scrap bin. All right, now we need that cover. Goes on here. Need to put that on. Oy. This is a heavy little unit. Generators do tend to be heavy though, so. I need to change that camera angle. Sorry about that, guys. Totally spaced out on that. Once I get this thing back together and running tonight, or hopefully anyways, I intend to let it run and run and run, maybe for like a couple hours here in the garage. Don't worry, the garage is very well ventilated. Between that and it not being insulated is the reason why I can't keep heat in here. That's why I built this little room that I'm in. So I'll have to try to heat this little room. But anyways, I'm not ready for that yet. I don't know what I'm doing. So the garage is very well ventilated. I'm going to put the generator outside of this room. The exhaust tends to float up, and it'll flow out. It's very drafty. Higher up in the garage. So, all right. Now we are going to, we're actually going to set this aside. Gonna have to make some space. Bench is getting kind of full. Oy. This can go up there. This can go there. Da 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 da. Clean up the bench a little bit. Wipe up some of the mess. Alright, let's scoot this over. We're going to work here. Clean up this bit of mess. Now we have a clean-ish paper towel. Starting to get a little warmer in here. That's good. Praise the Lord for that. All right. So, if you watched, I believe in the, first video, almost everything on here was seized up. The choke was seized. This, on the side right here, was seized, and it's still very sticky. It's not enough, it's not freed up enough that the governor will be able to move it. I have to push kind of hard to get that to move. So, first things first, I'm going to take that off and take a look at it. This screw, yeah, let me get this off of the linkage. This screw that's in here should be able to come out, and it is not coming out. All I'm doing is pounding it into the wood on the bench. I think I'm about to do something that might not be good. I'm going to try something. I'm just a little scared that I might hurt the carburetor body. I'm going to thread this screw most of the way back in and just leave it out a little bit. Spray a little penetrating fluid on here, lay it on its side, and do the same thing I just did. It moved. I figured it would. I'm just afraid of damaging the body of the carburetor. Let's try that again. I'm just going to go little by little. I'm also afraid of damaging that tiny little threaded hole. I'm afraid of damaging the threads in that tiny little hole on the carburetor. I'm trying to drive the screw out of here. Okay, so now, what can I use? Here. Hey, it just popped. All right. So I'm going to clean that up where this is supposed to be able to ride on and turn freely. I'm going to clean that up a little bit. I just need a little piece of sandpaper. This should do. Alright, it's already feeling less gritty. I think I cleaned it up some. Let's wipe it off and take a look. Yeah, I think that'll do. Oh yeah. Turns nice and free on there now. So we are going to reinstall that. Come on. There's a little spring on this linkage that helps to keep the linkage connected. Trying to get that spring to go through there. It's a teeny tiny thing. There we go. Now it's on there. So now let's thread this back in. And put our hammer away. It is no longer needed. Now that is moving like it should, which opens and closes the throttle like it should. Now let's see if the idle adjustment screw is free. Yep, that's nice and free. So now we are going to take out the air-fuel mixture screw. And see what that looks like. Could be pretty dirty. Looks all right. I want to take out the piece that needle, that mixture screw sets in, and it is all white and corroded looking inside there. Yeah, just white corrosion down inside there. We're going to try to get, okay, the penetrating oil just sprayed in there is going down, and it's dripping out this pickup tube. So that means this pickup tube is clear. That's good. We're going to try to get this jet out. That's why I sprayed the penetrating fluid down there. I'm going to try to get this out and clean out behind it. Clean the jet up and clean out behind the jet. It's not too bad back in there. Not great, but it's definitely runnable. But we're going to go ahead and spray it out. Now the next place we're going to get into is here. This cover, we're going to pop this diaphragm cover off and we're going to check the diaphragm, which I suspect is likely bad. If it is, that's not even tight. It was like maybe finger tight. If it is bad, I do have more diaphragms. I have a couple packs of them. I just have to go and grab one. This cover's not even tight at all. Alright, see if it'll just pop off. A little bit of persuasion here. Hey, there, it's starting to pop off. Alright, we got her. And diaphragm, can you hear that? Sounds a little hard. We're not even gonna try it, we're just gonna replace it. And there's some corrosion. So because there's a little bit of corrosion there, we're gonna get our little metal brush, little wire brush. I'm gonna move it back here away from the other carburetor parts. I'm just going to give that a little scrub there. And on the bottom side of the carburetor, we're going to give her a little scrub too. One moment. All right. I'm going to step outside to continue spraying this off. I just don't want to get too many flammable fumes in here since I have the kerosene heater going. If I just have to spray a little bit, that's fine, but I don't want to spray too much in here. So I'm going to take this outside of the room and finish spraying this carburetor out. And I'm also going to go ahead and find my diaphragm kits. So I'll bring you back in just a little bit. Alright, I'm back, and I found my diaphragm kits for these 3 and 5 horse Briggs type carburetors. I got the carburetor cleaned up. It is ready to reassemble. So let's get started with that. Oh, shoot. I forgot to clean the small parts. This jet is completely plugged. Need to find some little wire to poke through there. Yeah, it's plugged. I'm going to try poking the end of this spring on this governor linkage through there. Yeah, that went through. There we go. Now let's try spraying through it. See if I get it in my eye this time. Close on my cheek, but it is clear. It does go through. Yep, it's all clear now. So let's go ahead and thread that back in. Make sure the screwdriver's clean so I don't introduce any dirt into the system. Make sure that's clean. Put that back in. Now I need the adjustment screw. Make sure that's good and clean. It is. So this, we're just going to go ahead and turn all the way in. And once we are done, we will bench set this adjustment. Okay, it is right there. That's all the way in. So now this diaphragm, I don't see any light through it, so I don't see any holes, but it is hard, it's crunchy, and I can see it's getting ready to start deteriorating. So we're going to pitch that. We'll grab a new kit from the bag. So now we flip the carburetor over. We put the spring in place, along with the cap that goes on the spring. Now we put the diaphragm on over that. Make sure you get it indexed properly in the right position. And then we put the cover on. Make sure all the screw holes line up. And we put a couple screws in. Or I guess put all the screws in. And then we make sure the screwdriver's clean and run those screws down. And make sure they are good and snug. You don't want to strip them out, obviously, but you do want to make sure they're tight to ensure a good tight seal. These are easy to strip out. They're pretty small and they're going into a soft metal. They're threading into aluminum, so they do need to be tight. All right, our carburetor is rebuilt. So now we can put the carburetor back on the engine. We're going to have to set the gas tank aside. This this gasket here seems to be okay. We are going to go ahead and reuse that. I'm going to go ahead and put this linkage on so I don't forget how it goes, which way it goes on. Now we're going to slide this off to the side. We're going to move that bowl of hardware and other small pieces off to the side. And we're going to proceed to put the carburetor back on the engine. In the past, they had double gasketed it here, and the gaskets look good, so we're going to leave those alone. So I just remembered that there is one part that needs to be replaced yet that I had forgotten about. So I'm going to have to go find one, probably. And that is that one screw here that stripped out. Or I might just put that one back in and worry about it later. Just not put it in super tight. Just tight enough to seal. I might just do that. Oh. I just remembered. Excuse me. Coming down with a cough. Before I can bolt this carburetor on, this linkage here has to be connected. So I'm going to have to undo these screws, remove the carburetor, and connect that linkage. Silly me. I have this linkage on the wrong way. I got to flip it around. There we go. Now it's on right. I got to get the spring back in place. All right. Now this can go on. We got to hook the spring up down here. The spring helps to keep the linkage connected and tight. Okay, I'm going to get this carburetor on, and then I'm going to come back and get that spring on, because that spring is putting up a fight, and I think it'll be easier if I'm not trying to hold on to the carburetor at the same time. That's good enough. We just need it held kind of roughly in place. There we go. Now the spring is in. Now we can put this screw in. And now we're going to tighten them. We want to get them good and tight without stripping out the head. So we don't have a vacuum leak. The governor appears to be working as it should. All right. Now we're going to put this on. I was not able to get this nut freed up, but it's in the same position it was in to begin with, so we are going to leave it alone for now. If it becomes an issue, we will address it at a later time. Alright, so now that is in place. What else do we have left? The fuel tank. That's fuel tank and this cover here, and that's mostly it. I mean, and then the air filter, obviously, but we'll get it running before we bother putting the air filter on. So, there was an issue with the breather tube elbow as well. The other one is too far deteriorated. It was no longer usable. I went in search in my parts engines for a good used one and could not find one that was not... I could not find a good used one that was not part of a complete or almost complete engine. I didn't want to take one from an engine that is like pretty well complete, because there might be an engine that I might want to try to get going. So I found this one on an engine that was fairly incomplete. It did have a couple of cracks. When it comes to small rubber pieces like this, as long as it's not a part that has any pressure built up inside of it, sometimes you can get away with super gluing them. So I super glued. There was 2 cracks. I super glued them. I don't know if you can see where I super glued. Right there is a spot, and over here is a spot. Now there is a little chip missing out of it. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of RTV silicone on this connection here to ensure that it seals. I don't think that will be an issue. So let's go ahead and get that on, and then we can put the tank on. Ouch. Pinched my finger. So let's get some silicone here. Here we go. Ultra black. Oh, geez. Come on now. Make sure it fits as it should. Yes, indeed. It fits as it should. So now we're going to put a little bit of silicone around here. Not a lot. Just a little bit. I'm just going to take my finger and smear it around. Flatten it out a little bit. I want to make sure I don't get any inside the tube. We don't want to create a blockage. Now this, I'll wipe this off. And put the rubber boot on. I'm going to smear it over where that chip was missing to ensure a good seal there. And smear it all the way around the end of the boot to ensure a good seal. But yeah, so what I was going to say earlier, and I forgot, super glue bites really well on like old dried out rubber. It really does. I've used it to repair I don't know how many old small little rubber pieces over the years that where I couldn't really get a replacement or didn't have one handy. The other end of the boot will just slide on over as normal because it is fine. It's not broken. It doesn't have a piece missing. So now, let's find the rest of the hardware we need. 1, 2, 3 screws, a little bracket to hold that breather tube, and 1 screw for the bottom fuel tank bracket. So let's go ahead and, I did clean this out some. Still a little dirty. I mean, there's no loose debris left, but still a little rusty, I guess. But I figured once I see that this engine is going to run good, then I will put in the effort, the time and effort to clean out this tank properly. But until then, I just gave it a simple cleaning to get any loose debris out, and flushed it out till it came out, the fluid came out looking clean. And that's going to be good enough. So I'm just going to reuse this screw that is stripped out. It still turns in fine. It doesn't turn out very easy. I'm just not going to put it in super tight. And if this engine runs well, then I will worry about finding a good replacement. So we're going to get one good and snug to hold the tank in position. Now we are going to go down and take our other bolt. We're going to go down to this bottom tank bracket bolt hole, and we're just going to turn it in loosely. We can get it to go in. Piece of debris in there. There we go. Now it's going. Now this screw over here, though, we need to put this bracket on it. And now it can go back in the hole. Now we're going to turn that one in, just till it's good and snug. Now this one that's stripped out, we're going to turn that one in until it's good and snug. We're going to get that one real snug. Then the other two we're going to tighten down a little more. And just lower bracket bolt. We're going to go ahead and send him on home. Now we are ready to, I just realized, I'm sorry, I forgot to change the camera angle. So you couldn't see what I was doing, my bad. Now, we are ready to put some fuel in here and try to fire it up. So, I'm gonna bring you back when I get some fuel in here and it's ready to go. I totally spaced out. I got a little ahead of myself, got a little excited after all the headache this thing has been to get spark. I forgot, I kind of need to put this cover on if I want to start it. So we're going to get that on now. I just hope the lower fuel tank bracket does not interfere with getting that bottom bolt on the other side. This should have gone on before the fuel tank. Let's see here. Is this, yeah, 7/16. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I will bring you back as soon as I get some fuel in there and we are ready to go. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and prime this thing. Get some fuel down the cylinder. See if we can get it to take off and run. I'm going to put a liberal amount of 2-cycle fuel down in the cylinder. We'll see if she'll go. I also have the engine choked to help it to prime the carb, to get the fuel running through the carburetor. Come on, girl. It's getting pretty smoky in here. It's getting real smoky in here. I don't know if it was just because I was running it off of a 2-cycle fuel, bottle feeding it 2-cycle fuel to kind of help it get going on its own, or if it's because the rings are stuck and it's actually burning oil. I'm not sure. I will find that out in time. I know there was a lot of lubricating or penetrating oil down in that cylinder to help lubricate things and to hopefully help to start to loosen up those rings. So I'm sure that played a role in it. Let's see if she'll fire up without bottle feeding it at all. Come on, girl. This thing is really hard to turn over. It takes quite a pull to turn that generator over. I don't know. Let's try a little bit down the throat of the carb. Ugh, man. I know this engine is tired. Well, not necessarily it's tired. I know the rings are stuck. It's low on compression, so that's not really helping matters. Trying to determine if that smoke, there's a little bit of smoke coming up. It's coming out of off the engine, or I think it's coming out of the generator. Hope nothing in there's bad. Hope nothing in there is bad. So we're gonna, now that I got the exhaust fan going, we're gonna give her some more. We're gonna let her run for a little bit. All right. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, everyone. Well, there you have it. You've seen it run. You've seen it make power. That's far better than I ever thought that I would get out of this. I thought at best I'd be lucky, very lucky to get it to run, and I thought there ain't no way it's going to make power again. This thing was submerged in water in a basement, so, and it's old. But there you have it. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, the engine still needs some work. I'm hoping that letting it run and run and run for, you know, a couple hours, a few hours, however long it takes, will get the rings to unstick and that it'll run well again. The cylinder was in great shape. You could still see some of the original cross-hatching marks. So, I know it's not the cylinder, but yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video series. And if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this in the future. And I will see you in the next one. All right, bye. One more brief update real quick. After the short amount of time I ran it, I checked the oil because I knew there was still going to be moisture in there, and sure enough, so I am changing the oil again.